Now we're going to review the web page content for information leakage. This section focuses on preventing information leakage from web page content. In some cases, developers leave comments or metadata in HTML code and JavaScript that could expose sensitive data. To mitigate these risks, thorough security testing is performed, examining HTML comments and metadata, scrutinizing those JavaScript files, checking the presence of source map files, and ensuring no sensitive information leaks in redirect responses. All these steps pretty much contribute to safeguarding the overall security of the web app. There are different test cases. The first one we're going to go over is review web page comments and metadata. The main objective of this step is to inspect the comments and metadata within the HTML source code. Developers leave comments for themselves or others, which might include information about the backend system, database queries, credentials, or any other internal operation that the application might perform. This metadata provides additional information about the web page and its content. Therefore, analyzing the comments and metadata, an attacker might be able to gain a deeper understanding of the application, which could in the end aid them in further attacks. In order to view the HTML content of a web page, we're going to use the curl command. Just see what that looks like in the terminal. Just get that open. So we'll go curl website. And what we're doing here is we're looking for that indicator of a comment within this code. So as you can see it within the guide, this would be an HTML comment. So if I'm looking for that in the response, we have head, body. Not really seeing those comments on this test website, but that is what it would look like in order to look for that sensitive information that a developer may or may not have left behind. You should also inspect the meta tags with the meta in the tag. These tags can usually reveal useful information about the application, such as the authors, the refresh rates, or other instructions for web crawlers. The next step in testing in this category would be to identify the JavaScript code and gather the JavaScript files present on the web server. The main goal here is to analyze the client-side code of the web app. Many modern apps use JavaScript on the front end. Developers sometimes hard code sensitive information into the front end as well, assuming that the client-side code isn't accessible to attackers. However, all client-side code is visible to the user and can potentially reveal sensitive information like API keys, database credentials, or other internal URLs. First thing we'll do is fetch the HTML source code of the target using the curl command, as I just did in the previous section. Once you have that content, just look for JavaScript code embedded within the script tags. This code may contain sensitive information that can be used to attack this application. Additionally, you can look for external JavaScript files with the src attribute of the script tag. These files can also be analyzed for sensitive data leaks. Usually, to make searching through the code a bit easier, I like to use the grep command to find specific patterns. You can save the HTML content into a file, then use the grep command to find patterns like API keys or database credentials. An example of how to do that, it would be to run the previous curl command and output that into index.html. We have HTML. Now the file is present in the same directory. I can just grep. This is just an example. I could just grep for anything in the file. In this case, I would go access key ID in a AWS environment. Secret access key. And then just point it to the file. As you can see, grep returned nothing because those parameters are not in the web page content, as we saw earlier from curl. But that's just an example of what it looks like to actually output the curl command to a file and then grep for any strings. Next, we can move on to identifying the source map files. Source map files are used by developers to map minified transpile code back to the original source code, usually making debugging easier for them. If these files are inadvertently left on the production server, they can reveal a lot of information about the application structure and functionality, also exposing potential vulnerabilities within the application. To check for these source map files, we'd usually go to the developer tools. It's usually just F12. Head over to the network tab and refresh the browser. So you'd want to look for any extension that has .map, .map. These are what source map files are. That is what they would look like. You would find them in this tab. You could expect these files for any sensitive information leaks such as file paths, function names, or even secret keys. They would be right here in the network tab with file extension .map. In addition to looking for those .map files, you could also look for the redirect responses. Redirect responses could also leak information. Redirect responses might contain information about the internal workings of the application. For instance, if a redirect is triggered because of a failed authentication check, the server might include some information in the response that's not immediately visible in the browser, but can be seen when inspecting the network traffic. I can give an example of this in the terminal. So we can go curl, you can run our curl command again, except this time we'll go -I. This will make a head request to the URL, and it will return the response headers without the body. This is where you would carefully inspect the response headers for any signs of sensitive information. For example, a location header could reveal internal URLs such as setCookie or loc. Now, getting an example of a redirect header will look something like this, and you should be able to inspect the response headers for any signs of sensitive information. For example, a location header might reveal internal URLs, or a setCookie header could contain session identifiers. It's always crucial to conduct a thorough review of the web page content to identify any potential information leaks during testing. The testing process usually involves reviewing HTML comments, metadata, examining those JavaScript files, checking for the presence of the source map files, and identifying any additional information that might be leaked through those redirect responses, as I've just demonstrated. These methods usually can help ensure that no sensitive information is exposed through web page content, and in the end they contribute to overall security of the application.